So today I have the pleasure in talking to Dakirah. Please introduce yourself and your business to the community.
So my name's Dee. I am the director of Move On Time Removal Services. We specialise in domestic and commercial home removals.
That sounds fantastic. And how long have you been doing that for?
So we were actually coming up to our second year in March. So we started during COVID in, I believe, 2020. Yeah, so it's been 2 years so far. 2021, 2 years so far.
Fantastic. And Dee, just tell us a little bit about that. Actually, you mentioned there COVID. We know there's a bit of a pandemic. What was it like starting your business during that time?
So I actually finished studying in uni, and at the time I was jobless and no longer studying. So I actually applied for a job, and I just found working for the job wasn't where I truly wanted to be. So I decided for some odd reason to go into removals. I think at the time I was getting a lot of requests because I was doing a lot of car boot sales. So I actually purchased a Ford Transit van. I found out very quickly that you cannot perform removals in a Ford Transit van. And slowly the business has grown since then, and it's became really successful.
Congratulations, and what a fantastic growth progression there in your learnings at the early stages. What would you say at that time was one of the biggest challenges that you perhaps had?
So the biggest challenges, which I knew was going to happen, but I still charged forward with it, was COVID, of course, because you cannot do removals at home or over the web. Unfortunately, you have to actually be in the homes. So we had to imply a lot of safety requirements for not only our workers, porters, but our clients, to make sure that if we are coming into your home, we are making sure that we are protected, and we have the right equipment on board, and we have taken note of any requirements that the client has asked in terms of COVID.
Fantastic. And you mentioned there a little bit about rapid growth. What would you say one of your biggest successes have been so far?
Just management. So when I started removals, one of the biggest growth for ourselves and management has been managing our timetable and schedule. So when we first began removals, we were just booking in one job a week, or probably one job every few days, because we didn't have the staff or the vans to provide the service. So we had to manage our time schedule. So if, for example, one customer moved from Coventry, we're coming back with another load from Coventry. So we're not only managing our time and schedule, but it's more economical for the environment.
Fantastic. And what a great learning there as well, is if you're going there, come back with a full load too. Yes. So what would you say has been one of your biggest learnings since you've started your business?
So one of our biggest learnings is that the customer is always right. One of our biggest learnings is that the customer is always right, and we have came across different characters that have been quite changing in how we kind of perceive people, but we met some amazing people along the way. And for me personally, I've learned that sometimes you've got to be quite stern with people, and sometimes being a little more patient and listening to what people have to say is one of something that I've actually grown upon. And not only that, again, being in a management position. So again, as I mentioned before, I was an employee, and I went from an employee to an employer. And I'm still learning, but I'm learning how to manage people more effectively, and listening to everybody and comprehending what everyone's saying. So yeah.
Yeah, that's listening to understand and not reply is a big saying in our office in particular. So a good thank you for that shared learning. I think it's one of the best ones. So who is your best customer? What type of customers do you work with?
Oh, good question. So our best customers that we've worked with, so removals is all about, in a very short sentence, moving one object from A to B. But sometimes we have customers that want to move an object from A to B to Z to Z to to W to everywhere. So I think our best customers are ones that are prepared, where our staff can go into the job, everything's organised, and yeah, and ones that tip. Great customers are ones that tip and leave a great review.
Oh, fantastic. And if somebody came to you tomorrow and said, I'm thinking of starting a business, what piece of advice would you perhaps give them?
I would say if someone came to me and asked for advice about business, I would say go for it. And don't listen to anyone but your intuitions. And the reason why I say that is because when you do start a business, you get a lot of people that kind of persuade you not to go forward with it, or have their own kind of like worries about starting a business. So I would always say just go for it, because it is life-changing and it does have a massive impact on your life.
And talking about life, how do you switch off?
How do I switch off? I never do. I'm always sleeping and my dreams are about business. So how do I switch off? I go to the gym. So I actually started actually removing armbands, like doing the jobs myself, because again, as I said, we were very short staffed. And I do get a lot of response from customers when I do arrive to a job, not thinking that the person they had in their mind is not me doing the job. So I put on a lot of weight during COVID. I think we all did. It was our eating sessions and season. And I found the gym has been a very great place for myself to kind of release. It's helped with my mental health, because I just literally switch off, get stuck in with a workout, and I just sleep really relaxed, and endorphins are released, and that's the only chance I get to actually, you know, switch off.
Fantastic. And I can hear that you're very passionate, and obviously at the time you don't want to work for somebody else, you've started your own business, but what in particular excites you about your business?
So one thing that excites me about my business is that no job is the same. So with removals, it's like snowflakes. Every job is unique to itself. And again, I have met some great customers that have just got personalities. You can literally sit down, have a cup of tea up with them after the job, and it's just been amazing. So I would say that the one thing that about my business that never changes is the customers and the job itself. Like, for example, we went to Dover for a house move, we've been on the ferry, we went to Isle of Wight. So removals do take you around the country. You don't realise, but there are different places that you've never ever think of seeing coming to removals.
I love that. So you get to travel as well. And finally, as a person, you mentioned about coming from being an employee to being an employer. Yeah. How would you say that you've changed now that you're a business owner and leader?
So I would say I've changed with being a lot more patient and a lot more understanding. I think when you're an employee, your mind frame is mainly about yourself. When you're an employer, your mind frame is mainly about yourself and everybody else around you. So I think having patience and just making sure everybody's okay, and having that level playing field in terms of ensuring that your clients are okay, your customers are okay, that everything's being sorted, you turn out to be someone that does multiple jobs rather than one when you're an employer. So I'd say it's just making sure that everything's organised and I'm understanding where everyone else is coming from, not just myself.
So Dee, how can people find out more about how you might be able to help them?
Perfect. So we are on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn and Google. We have our own website, all move on time, one word, .co.uk. And if anyone does want to get contact for removals, we are offering us 10% on reduction of their fee using the code ActionCOACH. So yeah.
That's brilliant. Dee, thank you so much for joining us today, and here's to your future success. Good luck.
Thank you.